morning, all my crafty friends. NanaKaye here from the Altered Book Nook and NanaKaye Designs. We are getting ready to set up our new website. It will be called NanaKaye Designs. There will be some things that we offer on the website because of my expenses on Etsy have just increased. And in order to give you the best price and keep our profit margin within reason so that we can keep functioning, because it's getting more and more expensive with our advertising and everything that we are doing on the internet, we're going to open NanaKaye Designs. I'm in the process of doing that. Bear with me. I promise we'll have that URL available very soon. But in the meantime, everything that we are showing you in digital format will still be available on Etsy. I will never remove the digital formatting on Etsy, but the physical products will come out of NanaKaye Designs. Okay, going on with that, what I'm going to do in the first part of this video, it's going to be in two parts. You probably won't notice it when we edit it, but we're going to split it up. I'm going to first do a general flip through of where we are so far. I'm going to show you what projects we've already done. That way, if you see something you like and you're new to our channel, and by the way, if you're new, welcome. And if you've been coming quite frequently, I thank you for your support. But what we're going to do is flip through, let you see, and if it's got a video with it, I'll tell you there's a video. Then you can go back into the YouTube on our channel, the Altered Book channel, and see the video so you can make the same project if you're interested. Now, let me say this. Excuse me, I'm a little bit hoarse this morning. This particular digital kit is called Fuchsia Dreams. However, I have lilacs and lilac strings also, which has been one of my most popular digital journals, and it is massive. It's just really massive, and it's a real bargain if you see it on Etsy. Then we've got the wildflower, we've got sunflowers, we've got the fall design. I think I've taken most everything else down. All my older ones, I think Birds of a Feather is my oldest one, and it's still up, and I couldn't take it down. It's just so cute. But we did take some others down. Anyway, those are on there. There is not any project that we are doing that you cannot do with any one of those particular digital downloads. And you don't have to use my digital downloads to do these projects either. If you've got another preferred artist who has digital downloads or journal kits that you like, do it with theirs and follow us using those pages, because as you know, I pre-print or I print extras of all the pages. So I've already cut a piece out of this, and this is what I use. So if you're using any kind of a journal kit, you can print extra pages and do all these little clip arts and things that we use in our designing. So don't feel like that my videos mean you've got to go in and purchase our kits. That is not the purpose of our videos. Our videos are educational videos, and that's what they are. It's for you to learn new techniques and the way other artists do things. I may even be doing repeats of some kind of designs that some other artist has done, but my way of doing it is a little different. So if you see several ways of doing things, then you'll know that you can adapt to make it your own. So everybody's technique is a little different. So anyway, that spiel just lets you know that we don't do these just with you buying ours. It is a thing of education, hoping that you, of course, will go into our site and purchase ours and follow us. But if you don't, that's okay. We don't have a problem with that. Now, what I'm going to do is flip through number one first. This is what I'm calling my number one signature for the Fuchsia Dreams Journal. Okay, so we didn't do anything so far on the first couple of pages. But then we went and we did the mini. This is called a 5-pocket mini. Okay, this is 5-pocket mini fold right here. And so that's the first one we done. And there is a video on this one. Then we did this one yesterday, except this one was pre-done, and I put it in. The only difference with this is once I added it in, my little brain went to working, and I thought, well, I could put a pocket in the top of this, but when I glue it to the page and have room for a tag. So that's what I did. This is the only difference you'll see. There's still the little pull thing here and the 2 pockets in here. I did add the journaling card and that. So that was the one we done yesterday. So there's a video of this. This is the recipe card video, making the pockets from recipe cards. So that is still available in a video, so go and catch up on that. The little journal cards that you see attached are in a video where we just spend time making nothing but journal cards and decorating. So that was part 1 and part 2. I think it was called Making Journal Cards, part 1 and part 2. Might be Making Journal Cards and Pockets, but anyway, you'll find that on the YouTube channel. Then going through, we still haven't done those, and this was definitely a Making Pockets and Tags, or Making Journal Cards and Pockets. I feel sure that was included in that kit or in that video. So it's I just made a bunch of pockets and a bunch of tags and a bunch of journal cards to add to the book, because I like to pre-prep so that if I make something and I don't already have a card for it, I'll look in my little packet and see if I've made something that will work, and it does save me a little bit of time. Okay, going on, we have not done the centerfold. That's going to be a biggie, and we'll do that soon. I'm trying to decide what really I want to do for a centerfold that's very impressive. So we'll go on with that. This one was one of our main videos, and this again, let me see, this one was called the trifold. This was a trifold. So this is a trifold video. This one was put into journal number 1. I'm sorry. I'm having a little problem with voice, please. This was put in number 1 with the flat back down, as we showed you in the training video. And this opens up as a trifold this way. Just a simple flip over. Okay, then when I put it down, I made room for a tag in the very back as we put it down. So that was a video available. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe that is it in number 1. So that's where we are in our signature number 1. Okay, we're going to lay her aside and let's bring over number 2. All right, my second signature, same thing. I haven't done anything in the first few pages. But then we come to the last one that I showed you in here, which was the trifold, but we did this in the Z fold. Okay, I had a problem with it because it was so fat, and I couldn't get it to lay right in my book. And I said, well, I don't understand that. But anyway, what I did is I carried it to my press. I have a t-shirt press, and I pressed it down for a few hours, and it lays much flatter now, so I inserted it. But I've inserted this one with a Z-fold, and I did not make yes, I did. I have got room back there. I did lay it down. So while I'm on this video, I'm going to do something I don't always do, but I'm going to go grab a tag to stick in that back area. If I can find one that's big enough, without causing extra bulk, that one might fit. Let's just take a look. Looks like I did leave that space open for tag. And that was too wide. So just for the sake of while we're sitting here, let's just put in a flat tag. So there's a tag in there. So we did have one. But this was put in the Z fold. So that was the 2 folds. One was just a trifold out, and then the Z fold was flips this way and then flips back this way, or folds completely out. And remember, this is the one that had the little book in it, little pamphlet that we made out of the tea stain paper. So that one is a video. Okay, this page here was not in number 1, but this is one of our making journal cards and pockets, part 1 and part 2. You'll find that there. One of the tags that I've designed is in there. Okay. I guess we do need to do one of just making tags, and we will. That's another one I'll make a note of. This was a window pocket that I don't think we've done this on video. I'm almost sure I haven't done any window pockets on videos yet. But anyway, that's a window pocket that I have added. But what I did is took one of the pockets that we actually made in the making pockets, journal cards and pockets video, and then after I wasn't on the screen, I actually put a window in one of them. So that's what we did there. Again, this is the making journal cards and pockets. And we actually did this one on screen. I remember doing this tag in that video. So I know that this has got a video of it. So go there and find it if you haven't got a lot of pockets and a lot of journaling cards and tags that you can add to your pages. Go watch this video and catch up. This was the belly band that comes in the kit. And I think I did show how to do that. I'm almost sure I feel sure I have a video. I'll go back and review. I make so many now, it's hard to keep up, but I will go review. But I believe the journal card. The biggest difference with this belly band and any other ones you do is really just how we fancy up the edges, how we three-dimensional the on the little tag that we have on it. So that's just really simple. And then the cards again were made with the making journal cards video. All right, this one is the one we did again yesterday, and it's got the stitchums on it where we introduce the stitchums that we can buy. We'll be able to buy on the NanaKaye Designs page. They're not for sale on Etsy right now because of cost reasons, but these will be available in several designs and several colors. This is the one that had the really fancy tag in the front. This was a 2-pocket flip. If you go to look for the video, it's called the 2-pocket flip. That's what that one was. We added some journal cards into the lower pocket that were made with the Making Journal Cards video. And then again, when I went to glue this one in, I only glued 3 sides and made another pocket underneath. That's a nice secret stash place right there if you have some journaling that you want to put in and you know, it's kind of personal, put it in there. That's a good spot for it. Okay, the next one is another window pocket we have. I'm sorry guys, I had to stop the video for a second. I had somebody come in. This is another window pocket that we have not done a class on. That's coming soon. We'll go over that shortly. And the last one, of course, was the mini 5-pocket flip here. I'm sorry, I had to think a minute. So that's where we are on the actual signatures that we're working on in this particular journal set. And what we have coming up will be a making tags journal and those the window pockets journals, the window pocket inserts. We're going to make a video on those soon. So stay tuned for the rest of this video. We will have a project available to you, and thanks for watching this part. See you soon. Okay, we're back now. What we're going to do today for our project is make that beautiful window envelope that we had right here in this book. That's if I can put my hands on it quickly. No, wrong one. That's why I couldn't put my hands on it. The wrong signature. This signature. This one back here, we have not done a video on. And this is a window envelope flip. So, because see, it's kind of in an envelope, but it's a window or a window pocket flip. We'll decide the name later. Okay. Now, what I did is I took 2 of my basic recipe cards. I did not use my index size. I have 2 sizes. I used my basic folder here. I'm sorry, I keep getting a glare because these are really shiny. But that's what we're using today. Again, we're going back to the recipe cards. I have butted 2 together using my... this is a duct tape brand washi tape, so it's a lot stronger than your normal washi tapes. So be aware of that. So and be conscious of that. And this is what we're going to connect them together with. Okay, I just pulled off a strip and then I put them center way. So now, and also remember when you're taping these, leave just like a fingernail length gap in here, or a pencil, the width of my pencil lead. Right here is all I've left. Just that much of a gap. Not much. Pencil lead gap. Okay, then we're going to fold this back over. Okay, we're folding, folding, folding. Take my handy dandy press that I have created using a plain old simple, everyday paint scraper. Okay. This tape is not creasing like I want it to crease. So we're going to have to work on it. And I'm going to try to break the crease of the tape a little bit by flipping in the opposite direction. I want to force the tape to do what I want it to do, not what it wants to do. And we're still getting a lot of flip there. And if this doesn't lay down a little flatter for me, in a few minutes I'm going to go back and use a different tape on it. Because you want it to sit down. Well, it's not going, doesn't seem like it wants to lay down. Maybe it did better on this side. Well, this is something we're going to have to probably press and force. Okay, let's move on with it though. All right, so now this is the base. This is the base of our window, of our window envelope or window pocket flip. Let's call it the window pocket flip. That's what we're going to call that. Okay. Now, what we have to do next is we have to choose a design for, no, this doesn't have to have a main design because actually, this is actually going to be on the back side. So what I'm going to do here is take my pencil, find my halfway mark, and draw around this. Hope my hand's not all in the way. I have to have it a certain way. And again, y'all, I'm still having problems with my hand, and I am still having problems with my voice, so just bear with me. Sometimes getting older really is complicated. And I'm having one of those complicated states. It's like when the weather gets warm, my whole body decides there's all kinds of things it wants to argue about. And those are two of them. Voice and just pains. But you know what? I'm ignoring them. What the rest of y'all do, but I'm ignoring them. Okay, so this is going to be the back side, and this will all make sense once we get everything started gluing. And I'm just going to cut it out a little more like this. No. Cut in here. And I just kind of cut it straight. I don't try to cut the corners out. When I glue it down, when I glue this down, I will actually finish sanding off the corners or whatever it is I want to do. Okay, so there is that. This is the back part of the window pocket. This is the part you'll see when you see through the window, which is only about this portion of the card. And I may do something a little different today. I may go do an oval window. Okay. This can't be all the way back there because we have to have room. So that's it. We're going to glue it. At this point, we're going to glue it. Make sure we glue it down good. Again, I had to sand the front of this to get off some of the coating because the coating is there so that these recipe cards could be washable. Guys, I may not talk as much to save some of my voice. But anyway, let's glue down. I'm not going to talk any more than is necessary for you to see what's going on. You can see all this. Okay. Okay. Lay it back down here. I'm going to leave just a little bit of space back here. Make sure we're from cover side to side. It doesn't matter a lot because you are going to glue a piece on top of this. Like I say, all you're going to do is see the center here of this card. And when I flip it over and I see a little bit of white space right here, we're going to go ahead and take the scissors and trim that out. Okay. Now, I may fancy corner this up. I'm going to add lace. This is going to be a fancy pocket flip. So, all right, so that's the background. This piece right here is going to be glued down to the page. So you don't have to worry about that. The other two places we have to work on, that might be my problem. Let's pull this up a second. Had excess tape on there. Excuse me again. I so apologize. Bear with me, guys. I'm going to cut just a little bit of a corner off here. Not necessary, but it just kind of makes a little bit of a tooth in there, what I call a tooth. Okay, but it's okay. All right, again, this is the inside. No, this is out. This is the inside of the pocket. Now, let's make our window. Now, what I'm going to do is take another one of these, and I'm going to, since this is the size we're using, I'm going to go to my press, and I'm going to cut me out a window. Now, there are two ways to do windows. Depends on the equipment you have. One way would be for you to take your knife, possibly, I don't have a stencil right available, but if you had a window stencil that you actually use to make your windows, because this doesn't matter, you can design your card around how big you make your window. But you could actually take a piece of paper and it will square it off and trace around and cut it out using your knife. I'm going to stop the video for just a minute, and I'm going to go to my Vagabond and use an oval press because I want an oval window. I've not done an oval window, and that's what we're going to do. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I went to the Vagabond, which is my die cut machine, and I laid it out with one of my oval dies, and this is what I ended up with. I ended up with this pretty oval design for my window here. I'm going to save this. I can actually make a tag out of that. That's cute. Okay, save that. I'm not one for throwing a lot of stuff away. Okay, now, next step is we have to get our window on. Now, let me explain something. If you're blessed and you have extra cellophane, which I have a whole case of it in bag form. So what I do, I just got blessed with a lot of these, so I have them. And I'm going to use them because I have them. But what I do is I go in, I don't even have to use the knife. Look, I just go in and trim off like one edge here on all three sides. I just go in and do this. I don't need the tab, so I go ahead usually and go ahead and cut it off. But if you're just cutting out cellophane, you don't, none of this matters. But for me, this is a step I have to take to get my cellophane prepared. Then it opens up like this, but I really only usually use a sheet about that size. So I actually, on every one of these little baggies that I have, I got these at somebody else had a craft shop, not a shop, but a craft room in their home, and they had a whole case of these, and it just was included in my buyout. But anyway, you end up with a piece, and I don't know how well you can see it, but you can see it pretty well on the film. It's way too big. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just partially fold it over and see what we get, and that's good enough. So I'm actually going to, out of that one bag, I'm actually going to get possibly 4 windows out of it. So I'm going to, again, fold it over and then take my scissors and just cut that halfway mark, lay my extra piece aside for later, and lay that on there. So there's that. And you really don't have to have so much on this side, so I can trim out just a tiny bit here and lay it down. And now we're going to glue this on. I'm going to glue on this side because I have a lot of color to color on this side, so I can see it better. And you probably can't see it all that well, but I'm going to put my glue on my card. The reason being is I put it a little bit away from my cut line. And this is if you do not want to get your glue on your cellophane, and I really do not like the look when you get it on your cellophane. I don't care how hard you try to buff it off. Sometimes you can't get it off. And so let's just don't even get it on there if we can possibly help it. Then just very carefully lay down your cellophane. And I actually put my finger about here on it. And when I'm pressing, I press away from my cut line. That way, hopefully, I am not getting glue on the cellophane. And you got another thing I need to be careful about, and you need to be, when you're using something like this, wipe the back side each time you press, because the glue does come out from under it. Especially with this, because this really burps, and that's what I call it, burping the air out from behind your glue space. And on the side, I got a little bit on it, so I'm going to have to do a little bit of work. I don't like it, but I've got to try to wipe some of that off before it dries. So I'm just going to let it dry a second and rub. And that pretty much got it all. So I don't see a lot that got on there. Got on there more than I really wanted to, but that's part of crafting. But I got most of it off. Set right there, and then I pulled the whole thing up. Didn't want to glue that time. Okay, I didn't get enough glue on this side. Okay, I'm going to have to re-glue here because it's still gapping up. So let's try one more time. Right on this edge. Again, we're going to, it might be, but no, another reason it might not be sticking as well as I want it to is because I may not have sanded the finish off as well as I should have. So that's something else. If you're going to use the recipe cards, be aware of that if something doesn't seem to be sticking, it's not probably your fault or the glue's fault. It's because we didn't sand the card enough. And I'm still not thinking I'm getting enough glue right under here. I didn't really space out my, so I'm going to glue a little bit more underneath. And hope to goodness I've got enough coatings on it now to do what I need to do. Okay. I think we got it that time. Okay, now we have our window envelope, or our window top. Now, we can go ahead and put it on here like this, or we can go ahead and put our colored paper on, which I should have cut before I put it on. That's okay. The learning process again. Unfortunately, that one just is not quite big enough. What a disappointment, because I really liked that. But I have another one. And it looks like most of the design is going to get cut out on that one anyway. And that one too, so we won't go over that one. So remember, we are going to do a lot of decorating on this, so it doesn't really have to have a lot. Okay, because we're going to decorate a lot. So I think what I want maybe is on my top, I'm going to have all of it. It's all going to be tan. I want more color than that on the sheet. All right, I may have to stop and print something. Oh, this one might work. Not being cut. Oh, yeah. This one will work. Okay. So, this is the sheet we're going to want first. We're going to want this piece. And, of course, we can decide, since all that's, this is what I want. Okay. You see, I'm going to get color here, and I'm going to get color here. So, I'm going to take my pencil on this one, and that is my blade. Like I say, I'm having trouble with my hands, so I'm doing better today with a pair of scissors than I was the blade. Got a nice pencil mark all the way around. Pull this up a minute. In the meantime, I'm going to just flip this back over and let it be drying really good. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and cut this page in half, because there's no purpose in destroying this side when we can use it for something. Okay, put that in my scrap pile. And let's cut out our design that we marked. This is close on top of that pencil mark as you can get, so that you don't have hangover, or you don't have it, or you don't have a white gap. But again, the sanding block will take care of any small issues that might arise in doing this. Okay. Now, like I said, I kind of goofed because I didn't go ahead and cut my design out. So, if this will let me pull up, and I'm so hoping it will, and it will, I'm going to cheat a little bit, and this is just always steps that you take in crafting, guys. You know, little things happen, and we have to correct our issue. But let's get back in here and really quickly do our oval. And let's go back, and the glue is still wet because I feel it, and I'm going to press it back down really good. Give this glue time to dry while we're working on this other part. And you got to remember, if the glue is giving you a lot of trouble, you can actually put this piece on this piece, and the cellophane will be behind it. If that's making sense, the cellophane is glued here. If we put this piece on top, we will have a lot of, make sure we're in the right position. Yeah, I think we're right. I hope we are. We're going to make it work, okay? So the way I do this is I got an oval, so I really need to do a scissors cut. I do pretty well. If you're not good at cutting, you might stick with a square window. Okay, trust me, it makes it a whole lot easier. I come in with my blade and cut me a little starting point for my scissors. And then I go right up to my line and I start cutting. And I try to stay on the line. Now, remember, like I told you in fussy, when I told you how to fussy cut, the paper does the work, not the scissors. Believe it or not, you're going to turn the paper and not the scissors. This is key in learning how to fussy cut or cut intricate lines and circles like this, is to remember let the paper do the walking. That's all I gotta say. Your scissors aren't doing it. Your paper is the one you're turning and allowing. And there is our almost perfect oval. I don't know how anybody can hand cut any closer than that. So that's what we did. Now we're going to see if we can get this on where we actually marked it. And we did right there. So there is our window. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't this going to be a beautiful design? So again, taking our beautiful Barely Art glue, and let's go right back over top of that cellophane again. Right here, be careful, don't get it too close to the window, but you do want it on these outside edges. Again, if it doesn't seem to want to stick at first, please go back and re-sand it a little bit. Take your emery board and do it, but you know, your corners and your edges need to be where most of your glue is put, and you want it tight, okay? Excuse noises outside. My husband's in his workshop, which is right behind our craft shop. He's working, but he's allowed, okay? Now, let's make sure we get it down the right spot again, right in front of that window. And because of that darkness, it doesn't matter if you see a little bit, because it kind of frames it out. But the key here, I hope, is to be able to slide it, and just barely grabbed it tight this time. Okay, and I got a little bit of a, there you go. Isn't that pretty? That's going to be a pretty window, okay? So let's move her out. Okay, we've got the top now. And see, this is why it's better to work with it before you attach it. So now, all right, now what you have to remember is, I got glue peeping out right here. I want to go ahead and get it before it gets too much. Don't want it to mess up my cellophane. Because once it's glued on this thing, I can't take the cellophane back up. Okay? All right. Now, you got to remember that this is the way it's going to attach, and it's going to flip up, and this is going to be your pocket here. This is going to be the inside flip, but this is your pocket. So we're going to determine our center. So this is right at 4. So our center is going to be right about here at the 2 mark on both sides. Keeping that in mind, I'm taking my 1-inch punch to make my thumb grab, or my thumb hold right here. Again, I told you on your thing you have 2 little lines here. I center my line that I made just a little dipped in between those 2 lines. There's my thumb hold right there. That's where we'll be able to grab what's inside. No issue. Okay, we're going to lay this one now on top of this. Okay, I want to make sure we're not hanging over too much back here, but if we are, we'll adjust that. All right, again, this is a pocket, so you're only going to want to glue it on your 3 sides. And this, well, I think it's okay. But we're going to glue our 3 sides here. Not there, because that's our thumb grab, thumb hold. We're going to glue down this edge. I'm going to glue down this edge right here. Okay. Again, we have done it. Okay. Grab it. And the most important edge for me is this one here. Get it right here, and then down these two sides, just slid into position, and then press. Okay, again, I press out this way. Wipe my thing, make sure it's glue on the table. Press that way again, which I'm not so worried about the back because it's going to glue down. Okay, there is your front cover of your thing, of our pocket flip. Our window pocket flip has got page 1 pretty much accomplished. I see a little bit of hangover right there I don't like. I'm going to repress it just a little. Oh, we're having a little difficulty with that corner there. Okay, let's pull down again. I really am going to have to take my time and sand down some of these because that is my issue here. Is that slickness is, the glue's not drying as quick, although it's a benefit too, because like when I just needed to move it, I did. So I'm going to let this dry good before we ever touch it again, but this is where our card's going to slide in. And we will design a card that matches this window perfectly, hopefully. Hopefully we can do that. All right. Now we're going to go to our inside. Inside is real simple. Again, do you want it plain? Do you want it, how do you want the inside to look? Do you want decorative, not decorative? I'm going to have a pocket on both sides. I'm going to do a small pocket. And I'm going to do a small pocket using my tiny cards that I have. They're not long enough, are they? Well, yeah, they can. They can center in that. Nothing wrong with that, I don't guess, since they're already pre-done. I'm thinking, this is my quiet time, is my thought time. Let me look at my pot. Remember we did a video where we done pre-done a few pockets? I'm going to see if I can find any of those right quick and see how they look in here. There they are. I think I might have a pocket in this handful of stuff. There's one. Oh, that's perfect. And then, oh yeah, here's what we're going to go with. See, sometimes, see what I mean by pre-prepping? That guy, I grabbed two little things out of there that I didn't have an idea of. Well, this is what we're going to do here. We're going to make two pockets, either this way or this way. Or like this, okay? So there's the pockets that we're going to use. So now we'll design our background based on the three pockets that I chose. Okay, so I really think since we're going to have so much decoration here, we're going to have something here. These can be fairly, relatively plain. Not a lot of, you don't want a lot of design in those to take away from these. And that looks good against that. So this is what I'm going with. I'm actually going to, and y'all may think I'm crazy, but to save bulk here, I'm going to actually cut it here. I'm actually going to cut it and then leave a little gap between the two for the fold area. But this is what we're going to do. And I'm going to make it 4 inches, I'm sure. So let's just go ahead and cut that 4 inches wide. So I think, let's double check. My husband says, always measure twice, cut once. Okay, so we are 4 1/4 thereabout. So we can always trim up. So good thing I checked because I would have cut that incorrectly. So the first thing I'm going to do, so I want 4 1/4 by 1, 2, 3, 4 and 3/4. 4 1/4 by 4 3/4 is what our size is. This has a little bit of a gap here, so I need to straighten off that edge. And guys, I'm going to try to cut, but I'm not making any promises. Like I say, this left hand is almost useless, so I'm so glad my doctor's appointment's tomorrow. I want to know why I've lost use of my arm and hand. It's just really, like I said, disheartening. So disheartening. Okay, so I got that edge straighter, and now we need it cut all the way across 4 3/4. So 1, 2, 3, 4 3/4 would be at this mark. And it's a little bigger. 3/4 is a little larger than we need. Keeping it straight on this edge here is important right here. And 4 3/4 is these little dotted lines right there. Again, I'm going to try to cut. Bear with me. And I've got to remember to quit moving my knife right at the end because I, for some reason, have a tendency to do that, and it leaves a little whoop. So, all right. Now, so 4 3/4. I hope I didn't do that wrong. So the 4 3/4 are this way. All right. All right. So that's right to that line, and the 4, it's too large. So maybe I didn't cut either one right, but that's okay. We're going to get it measured again here. Okay, so if we're going to cut it along this, oh, we hadn't cut it along the edge, I guess. I was just straightening it up. Okay. Now this one needs to be 4 1/4, as we said a while ago. This side needs to be 4 1/4. So our 1/4 inch mark on this thing is 4 1/4. So we need to cut off just a tiny bit here. Line it up. And same again. Roll it down. Cut that. I'm going to save this strip because this makes a real pretty strip on something. I'm worthless for that, guys. I save everything. It looks like a big scrap pile. All right, now we need to cut it at the middle mark here because we don't want to fold it because it causes bulking. So I am better off to cut it, line it up against my straight line right here, and cut right there again. I've been able to use my left hand a little more than I was yesterday, so I'm thankful for that. Okay, cut that one off that size. Lord, I hope this is right and I haven't made another error. I haven't. It's perfect. It's going to go in perfectly. And a little bit of tape showing is only a more decorative design, so don't worry about that because, like I said, we need a little bit of gap in there so that we can close it without bulk. Okay, so that was done. And then we're going to get this one. Make sure it's straight on that side. Straight, 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 straight. And this one needs to get cut. Now let's make sure it's 4 1/4. Sometimes nope, this one's 4 1/2. Wait on. It's 4 1/2, but if we cut it the 1/4, that's going to be too small. I'm going to cut this one 4 1/2, and then if I need to trim it down, I will. Okay? It's a good idea to double check your base, always. Really probably needs to be right in between the two. But we're going to start here. Make sure it's going to fit. And then you have to make sure you keep your sides together. Okay, so now, if I have a little, I don't have any overhang. So it's a good thing I cut it that size. Yep. All right, that's the way. So now we've got our 2 pieces done. Yeah, and we've got our gap with our pretty shiny tape showing through. And we'll finish all this trim out. So let's glue it down. You know what, guys? I am going to take 2 seconds here and see if I can sand off a little bit more of this polyurethane or whatever it is they do these tags with because it is really slick. Okay, that's done. Let's glue. Glue, glue, glue. You want a good tight fit. Okay. along this edge here. Let's get it as tight as we can on the two edges. I do not want them to over gap, so I kind of tap them on the table like this before I ever press. Make sure I've got my gap here properly. Then smooth out the glue. Okay. We got a little overhang, but we'll trim that off. The key right now is to smooth the glue out. Don't tear your paper because I feel myself trying to rip my paper. Pull it from this way. Okay, let's get the other side real quickly. On the edge. Still right to decorate these. So. Lots of glue. Same thing, I really want to get this edge matched up as tight as possible in our bottom, since that's where I matched them up on this one. It's bottom, and I feel it not wanting to slide in place. Okay. Okay. I see some white there. Not happy with that. No, 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 no. Come back up. We want that white not showing, and we do not want to ripple in our paper. So, all right, we redone it. Stretch it if you can. Okay, now we're going to press it down, get all the air out. Okay, so now we have our interior done. Now, what's left here is our trimming off. My situation is, should I use scissors, or I think I will use my scissors, because it's such a thick card, I can really feel the edge with no problem without cutting into the edge. There's glue on there, so they're sticking to my scissors up. That's what you saw there. Okay. I have just a really tiny bit of white here. Not enough to matter, because when I stain along this edge, it's going to take all that color, any white out. So there is our exterior and our interior. Now, as I turn it this way, I'm also seeing a little gap on this side. So I'm going to go do the same thing. Get a little bit of pink off. Don't worry about your corner yet. We're going to decorate those corners, okay? So there's that. I got a little bit of white showing here. I'm not happy with, but again, when I stain it, it won't show. Okay, that's our interior. So now let's put our pocket in on both sides. Let's kind of measure this one. That looks simple enough. Hold it at the thumb tab and stay as close to this edge as you possibly can, because we need all the pocket space we can get for journal cards or tags or whatever we're going to put in here. We may put a mini tag in here. We may put a journal card. It really depends on what we've got pre-prepped. And if we don't have anything pre-prepped, guess what? We will make something. That is the beauty of crafting. If you don't have what you need, make it. Again, I pull away from the interior because I want it to go outward and not inward. I want my glue to go outward, not inward. Okay. Give that a few minutes to dry before we make sure. I always take this and go back in it like this. See, I don't want to do it right now because that's popping up, but that's what I'm saying. After it's dried a little, then you go in and just kind of loosen up your pocket, okay? Just a little tip there. This matches so beautifully with the tape. Okay, now let's figure out the placement. Do we want it to come down? I think I want it this way. And whatever goes in here, maybe we can make a little tab that extends just a little bit above it. I'm not sure, but this is already so much done. Let's just go ahead and, again, just glue as tightly across this edge as we can. And now we're gluing paper to paper, so there will be very little time to adjust with this Barely Art glue. So make sure you get it as tight as you can. I don't say you have to be perfect, but a little extra dab on this corner would never hurt. Going outward with it, outward, not inward. Okay, because we already have very little space here too. So this is going to take the longer of the two cards. So we want it almost to the bottom of this insert. Again, I glue, I press outward, I press outward, I turn it and I press outward. Let glue set. Never hurts to make sure these corners are down tight, that that's set. If you got excess glue, remember the tricks I've told you. You can either rub it off with your finger or let it dry a few seconds. Take a clean white eraser, gently, and I cannot express gently, rub it, and you'll get the excess glue off. But if you rub too hard, you're going to rub your print right off your paper. And that, when you're this far done, that almost feels like a disaster. It's not, because we can always do something to hide it. But anyway, just rub gently if you're going to do it that way. Second pocket going down, getting the glue on it, on that corner. Second pocket going down, still gluing the 3 corners. Hold the thumb tab. Okay. You're going to have to work quickly. Now we want to side our positioning. I don't say that I want it so far up. So there's a lot of dots right there, and that's where I'm going with it. About right there. Making sure I'm straight. I have glue. I'm going to roll it off. And then take my eraser, because I did get some here I don't like. I'm just going to erase right here. Roll it off. Okay, right. Yeah, that stuck tight really quick. Okay. And now it made me a little stain there. Isn't that pretty? Pretty little stain. Nothing the butterfly won't cover though. And if you have a little wipes, you can actually use some wipes. But there again, you have to be real careful. Okay, so now we have this one down. This pocket's down. Press really hard outward again, just to make sure that we've burnt those edges and that it's hold tight. So now there is our interior. Our key now is I am sure, almost without a shadow of a doubt, sure, that I do not have little tabs to go, tickets to go in here already. So we're going to probably have to make our own. So we need to let it dry a second. We're going to go back over to this one. We're going to open this up, and I'm going to look in my little bucket of cards and see if I have one. I don't like the height of that one. And that's another pocket, so we don't want it. But this card works, I think. No, it's too tall too. So it looks like, guys, in spite of the fact that we spent a whole video making cards, that here we have one of those situations where every single card is going to have to be made on this one. We're 32 minutes in the video, so I still think we have a little bit of time to do this. But however, your window base is done. This is it. This piece will be glued down. Sand it a little bit more before you put it in your book, and then glue that piece down if you're using recipe cards. If not, you can actually just cut 1 10-pound cardstock in the same size as these old recipe cards and do the same thing. You do not have to have the recipe cards. Okay, now let's go ahead and distress our edges and fancy up the actual base. We've done the base. Now we're going to try to fancy it up a little, make it our own, make it unique. Open this thumb tab and do a really dark edge right there. I'm sorry, really dark edge. Okay, close it so I can get that side edge. Open it. We got all this. Just staining the edges of my base. Like I say, this piece here is going to be glued down. Okay. That's pretty. All right, now I'm going to fancy my sides, my corners. Okay, I like fancy corners, so I'm going to fancy my corners. If this is not too thick and it Yes, too thick. So I can't do that one. So on the outside one, I'm going to just have to trim it and make it just a pretty rounded edge, which is okay with me. And if my hand wasn't bothering me, I might could really press hard, but the problem would be is if it was a stick on me. Yep, the inside will work. Okay, we've got the inside done. I need to re-ink the edges. I got a little piece here I want to just trim. Not that it matters that much, it's just bothering me. Okay? Okay. That's done. Alright, so that has got us with this done. I've got the inside is a little fancy. I'm disappointed I can't do the outside, but that's okay. We're going to fix it up with something else. Okay, let's start decorating the outside. I don't think I have a card to go for the inside yet. So we're going to have to find a picture or something that makes us happy with this inside. And see, that card is pretty, but it's really too small. It would slide too much. All right, so let's go through our sheets of printed. I am running out of them too, guys. I am running out of printed pages to use. I don't want none on this one. Okay. Let's see what we got here. If we go with that, it's an awful lot of, but if we go with it this way, those cards this way, we're not going to get much color. But it does come at an angle, so it could be an extension to that on the top. Okay, I'm going to cut the card out of this one, I think. No, I'm going to cut it out of this one. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is split my sheets in half because I do not want to accidentally waste the left side, which is what I'm not going to use. So we'll put this back over in a stack to use later. And we're going to go with this one. Okay, so I'm going to lay this down and look at how much card I need. I just need it probably, I'm trying to see that I want to get most of this picture into the view window. So we're going to cut it right here. This is our cut line. Again, we're going to have to make this a little smaller than what you see here, but I am going to put the pull tab on. So there is our cutting of our card. We're going to make our card real quick while we're in the middle of this video. Okay. All right. Set the extra scraps aside. We might need them. Okay, let's just look at this. So it's too big, so we're going to need to trim off both edges. So this is what we want in the view window. So we're going to trim here and here. So let's lay it evenly across our line and bring it in just a tiny bit. Maybe 1/4 of an inch, maybe might even be only about 1/8 of an inch. Okay. And we're going to cut that off. Okay, then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Now we know this side is straight. So we want to make sure we're straight along the side here and the bottom line. Okay. Come in on this line and cut this edge off. Okay. And we are too deep. We're not, it's not going to go any deeper than probably right about there once you start pressing it in, and we still may not have enough off. I don't feel like I have enough off. I'd rather my card be a little smaller than to stretch the corners of my pocket and pop it loose. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to cut off another 1/4 inch. I'm going to cut a whole 1/4 inch off this time. Okay. So now, there we go there. All right, now we need just a tiny bit off this, so we're going to take a little bit off the front side of the card. We want it to come out from under the tab, but it's probably not going to go any deeper in it than, there's my thumb tab. We're going to want a little bit of the card to stick out, so somewhere between an 8 inch and 1/4 right here. I'm just going to gauge it and just for my own eye and just gauge it myself a little. I think that's, yeah, that's probably enough, because if I add a ribbon for on my card, that's what'll stick out the thumb. So I think we've got nice straight edges. Okay, that's that. Now the card's too flimsy because I cut it out of the 28-pound brochure paper. So I'm going to reach over here and grab a piece of my 110-pound. Oh, you know what? Since we're going to back the card, let's do it this way. Let me look into my little stash here and see what we can make the back of that card. This lace is pretty right here. This lace pattern. This is what we're going to do. We're going to glue it to the back of that. Okay. Now, the reason I'm doing my card now before I finish decorating this is because my card, to me, using my art eye, as I call it, just seeing what it looks like, the card being in place helps me decide what kind of decorations I want on the exterior of that window pocket there. So, always burp good. Either use a bone folder or whatever. Like I say, my trusty paint scraper works great for me. Just a tool I like. Okay. And again, we're going to cut. And remember what I said. When you're cutting like this, it's a good idea to just kind of slant your scissors a little bit at an angle instead of cutting straight on. Because to me, you get a little bit better cut. There again, that's artist preference. You may have your own way of cutting on edges like this. I've just developed this technique over the years, and this is just what I do. Okay, she's trimmed out right pretty there. Okay, so there's your card. Let's see, do I have a little, yeah, I have a little bit, just, no. Yeah, I have a little bit of an edge right there sticking out. But nothing that the card. Now, before I do any further on this tag, I need to make sure she's going to slide in. And there it goes. And it's a little tighter than I like, so, and it popped that corner up, as you see. Okay, so we're going to have to re-glue it. It wasn't tight enough to start with. Okay. Okay. All right, so we're going to trim it just a tiny bit more so that we've got a better slide. I don't like a tight slide. Again, that's a preference. I just feel like you're going to damage the base if you don't get your card where it goes in and out easily. And if this doesn't work, I'll show you another little trick that helps. Well, one thing, I need to make sure I'm cutting on that line and not into my board. Okay, let's measure it one more time. There we go. It's sliding much better. Okay, and I'm seeing some glue in here. So what I will need to do is come in and I may have to go get my baby wipes, which I do use quite frequently, and I got a little glue on there. Y'all bear with me just a minute. Sometimes I'm just too meticulous, and I'm sorry. I am very meticulous about my art. I don't want glue shining through. So I will probably go get my wipes and do that. And I'm having really a difficult time with this particular corner. But I just smashed it down again. Okay. I'm going to put some lace up there, so not a problem at this point. All right, so that's going in pretty. No, it isn't. All right, let's try one more time. Got a little extra thickness right there. Press down. Press down. I just add a little extra more glue. Since it's so thick here, I may not be pressing hard enough. But I got it, I think, this time. Slick card or something else. Okay, now, I want to decorate the card up a little. It is sliding into the pocket just fine. Looking at it, I think I've got a good amount of space gap allowed for it to slide in and out. I didn't make it extra thick, and I'm not going to, because again, in the rest of these projects, we are trying to eliminate so much thickness so that we can curtail some of the alligator mouth that we may end up with on our signatures, which if we work properly, we will not have alligator mouth. We'll make our spine wide enough to cover it. Okay, again, I'm going to take my fancy punch, and since I started this particular punch on the inside, I'm going to do that all the way around the outside. You may not have fancy punches, but you may can go to your die cut machine, and you may can find something in a die cut that you want to trim out. I'm going to do one little extra trim out on this one. This is the back side, and on this one, I'm going to come in with this particular one, and I'm going to center it. And I'm just going to punch a little bit more out on the side. Just gives it just a little extra decoration there, as you see. Not something you need to have to do or whatever. It's just a preference. Okay, and on this side, I'm going to add a little ribbon, just a little piece of ribbon pull. Nothing large, nothing major, nothing that's going to just stand out. But I'm going to do it just like this. I'm going to do a pull. I'm going to measure out a little bit of it. I always give myself a little extra length to start with. And I really probably, before I glued the two pieces together, should have done it underneath, but it's not necessary to do that. That's a matter of preference too. You would have got a lot tighter tab if you had done that, but let me show you what I do when I do things like this. If I feel like, well, I should have made it underneath, I'm going to put it in the center of the two pieces, which is right about here, I think. That's about the center. I'm going to go ahead and glue this piece down right here. I'm going to put my glue right there. I'm going to let that start setting right there. Okay. Oh, God, y'all. I sit there with my head in the light. I am so sorry. I don't know how long it was like that. I apologize. Let's move it up some, so that way if my old head gets in the way, and I'm just not going to restart the tape because of it, I'm just going to go with it. All right. What I'm going to do now is take a decorative punch, and I think I have one. I do. I have one over here that has several flower shapes. I'm going to take that, and I'm going to take one of my 110-pound sheets over here, if I can find one that's got some color to it. I don't want purple. Let's see. Oh, hot pink. That's pretty. Okay. Got a hot pink piece. I got this lace piece here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tap out a few of these flowers, a couple of these flowers. I say I am. They fly everywhere, so don't pay that any attention. Okay, there they are. Okay, I've cut out a couple. Okay, and then I'm going to actually make a decorative thing on the end of my ribbon. Problem solved, right? Again, not necessary. Don't have to do this, but this gives it two purposes, for decoration and for strength. Right there at the pool. It's kind of pretty to me. All right. I'm going to flip it over. Do the same thing again. I want to measure how much of my tab I want. I don't want a really large tab. So let's stick her back in here a minute. Push it down to where it's supposed to go. And I don't want much more than about that right there. So we're going to pull it back out. I'm not going to pull on the tab yet. It's not dry enough. So we just want a little bit of the tab right here. Cut off this excess right here. I got something on my scissors, so they don't want to cut nice. Goodness. And that's another thing. Be prepared to buy a lot of extra scissors, because after a while they just go dull, and there's nothing I can do about it. They just do, and everything I've ever tried, just same thing. And finding somebody that actually fixes that, actually does the blade sharpening, is almost impossible for some reason in my area. And if you do find somebody, unfortunately, unless you've got a very expensive pair of scissors, their fee outweighs buying another pair. So just be prepared to buy a lot of scissors in this craft. And somebody I have heard that you can take a piece of aluminum foil and do a little bit of sliding it up and down the scissors yourself, and that does help take some of the edge off. So I don't know, we'll see. There's my pull tab. We can go in with a small rhinestone here, or another thing that I use, and y'all probably don't think I'm crazy. I might have some in here, but I use little holes. Aha, look at there. Magic. Flower centers. Pretty flower center right there. Doesn't add a lot more bulk. Don't you go away, flower center, because we liked you. Okay, doesn't add a lot more bulk, so you can just put a dot of glue on that and put it in the center of your flower. Or you, like I said, you can put a small rhinestone there if you want to add a little, just add just a minor amount of bulk. But I added just a little dot that was punched out of my everyday stuff. And I'm just going to use one that matches, kind of matches that on this one. Little intricate things like this, but okay, there. So we're going to let this card dry. I'm going to save my dots in something. I don't know what, but we'll find somewhere to put them. I'm going to save the excess flowers we've chopped out, because we might can use them again somewhere. So we'll put them aside. Straighten up my desk a little, because, you know, I said I've made a vow to you guys. I'm going to try to stay a little bit less messy. Now, if I can just quit sticking my head in the video, we'll be doing good. Okay. Now, let's ink up the edge of the card while it's drying. This is where you can decide if you want to go in deeper, shade it out like that, or if you just want to stay on your edges. That's up to you. I like to add a little color. Just a little color everywhere in there. Especially right around the edges of these designs. If you color it a little bit on both sides, don't do too much, because you don't want to mess up the back side. Your back side is your journaling side, so that's not near as decorative to start with. Okay, so we colored it, and there goes this. I hope I've got this drying now, and I can stick this card in. Let's see. Let's see if it'll go without making a mess right now. Still not so sure that I couldn't have actually loosened it up a little more. Okay, I told you, I promised if we didn't loosen up what we would do. You go in like this, and this one's probably not going to reach as well as my ruler. But you go in and you just kind of open up the pocket just a little bit like this. To here, and you're going to open up the pocket just a little bit here. I want to get in these corners and just kind of open them right along the edge without popping it off like I did earlier. Okay, so now there we go. I got some trash in there, so now let's go in there. Oh yeah, that's much better. Okay, now that envelope or that card is now inside, and there is your design peeking through. Okay. All right, we lay this aside while we work on the inside. So there's the card, that one. Now we've got to make a card for here. And again, we need to choose a design. And if you want to do the same thing, you cut off a piece of that other. If you have a piece of that left over, it's strictly up to you what you want to use. These flowers don't necessarily match those. So I really probably need to go with the pieces I have already used. This does match a little more because it's more of a darker color, so that does match. And I think this is what I'm going to make my card out of right here. Okay? Now, so I want my card to fit in this pocket. So I'm going to actually not cut it quite. So we want to cut it right about. It would be nice if we got some lead in there. Cut it right about here. And we're going to cut it right about here. And then height-wise, we want it to come kind of close to the top of our pocket. So let's see if I measured that well enough to cut it. If y'all didn't understand it, I'm sorry, but we'll try again. All right, let's cut it because we want some length to it. So we're going to get it right on that line, get it right on that line. I'm trying to keep my head out of the thing, guys. Sorry. Okay, put it there and there. And so get rid of this piece. We don't need it right now. And naturally, we want to cut this white space off. You want to cut the rest of this off if we don't need it. So let's just kind of cut it close to where we marked it and get it out of the way. It's a whole lot less bulk to have to deal with. All right, so right here is approximate to where my mark is right there. So I'm going to lay this down and see how close I got. My mark is right there, so I didn't get quite on it. So we're going to tap just a tiny bit. Tap just a tiny bit and get it right on that mark. Really, this is probably the most difficult part of what we do is measurements. Well, at least for me. Okay, so I got most of that done. It's right on that line, so that was a good jant. And this one, we're going to turn it over and try to get right on that line. Well, let's work it this way so I can keep it in the video and keep my edge straight here. You see, there is our mark right there. So we're not quite there. We got to push it this way a little so we can get right on that straight line. I have to be on the straight lines or I can't cut it. I have seen some people, they could cut a straight line without even thinking. And I mean, I got to have my mat board here. We would have some loopy, lopsided cards if it wasn't for my mat board. Okay, I got that piece cut off. Okay. And now I'm going to measure one more time. We're going to cut this white piece off, and we're going to have to cut a little piece of that corner off. So let's go here. 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 I'll just cut it all, yeah. Here. And go here. And we're going to cut the white piece off here. Right here. Okay. And that's got that. So I think we got our base of our card. It's going to go in this pocket. Looks like it's going to fit with no problem. Height-wise, it's no problem. We can put something across the top if we need a little more space. So there again, we need to choose our background. And I might just, I don't go with that dark pink because we want to be able to write on the back of it. So we're going to pull out this cream colored one here. And again, we're going to glue it down. Oh, dropping the thing, y'all. Bear with me. Sometimes these background noises throw me off. I hear people coming in and I hear people leaving, and they're trying to be quiet, but I can hear them. So if they're in my video, I apologize. But that's the life here when you've got two crafters actually working in one space, and that is my daughter is up front doing her stuff. She does a lot of intricate art. I say it's type of art. It's really her. She makes her own workbooks and things for her classroom, and that's what she is in here doing for the summer. She is designing. Now in the winter, I won't have this problem when we get into the colder weather and school season starts again. Kimberly will not be in here. Then I have to be on alert for my husband coming in and out. But and he'll be waiting on what two customers might drive up if any drive up. I try not to video at a time where my shop is open, but we live in a neighborhood where people know we exist, and if they need a supply or something, they'll still come knocking on the door, even when we're off. That's the beauty of having a business in your own backyard. I think I want this to be my top where the actual stuff just peeks out. I don't think it's too tall, guys. If you do, you need to send me a comment in the chat. But that's my card going in. And again, we're going to keep this simple. I'm not going to do a whole lot to this card. I am going to give it some color on the edges, just because that is my type. That's my thing. Excuse me. That's my thing. Just colored edges. I could cut this down a little bit smaller. Another option that you have when you're doing a card like this, and if you think it's just too bland, another option you have is to cut it down just a tiny bit smaller and then take another piece and frame out like this. And since I'm talking about that, I guess that's what maybe I should do to show you. I'm going to go ahead and cut a little bit more off this card, off the top. I hate to lose the top. I'd rather lose some of this bottom because we need to break from so much cluster here. So, and there again, artist's eye is what you use when you're doing things like this. So to add another border, I probably need to cut quite a bit off the bottom. It looks like I've cut maybe 3/4 off here of an inch. Okay. I'm going to save this strip because I'm making use of it for something. That's me, just me. Go ahead and re-ink this edge. And then I'm going to take this one, it's a 110-pound cardstock, and I'm going to actually glue that piece to that. And I hope we're at the right height, but I'm just going to guess it, okay? And this piece is solid white on the back, so I'm going to have to do something different on the back, but that's okay. We'll worry about that when we cross that hurdle. Okay, so now there's my frame up. Now I'll build a frame, a three-dimensional frame on that a little bit. So now I've got to come in here and cut again. Move everything out of the way. I don't want to cut it. Okay, and we have just about a little over 1/8 of an inch edging. I'm going to put my line down just to make sure that's about right, and it is. So I'm going to cut it from this side so that if I accidentally slip, I don't cut into my border that I'm trying to create. Straight down again. Get this piece out of the way. It's bulking. It's in my way. Okay, and same thing here. We're going to put her down, and we're going to try to give ourselves just the right cut. Do two things again. Do an eye of it first to make sure you're about right. You are. Go back on this side of it. Make sure one more time that you're straight. And get it on the line and cut it. Now you have a card with a border. Just gives it a little extra decoration. Nothing more fancy about it. It's just extra decoration. So there that is. All right. This is going to slide down into this pocket here. Again, if your pocket's too tight, I showed you to take your ruler and just kind of go in and stretch it a little. And this one's working fine, so I'm not going to do anything extra to it. This should be dry enough now that this can go in its front spot and sit there where it's supposed to, and we don't have to worry about it anymore. Do make sure your flour is good and tight down so that when you're sliding it in your pocket on both sides, you're not going to snag on that cute flour you just created with it. All right, now all we got to worry about is two little inserts to go right into that. And it really doesn't have to be nothing major, nothing big. I'm going to check and see what I've got. That's a little too narrow. I should have a lot of scraps here, something that'll fit. I may can even take a card that I already have and cut it in half, which is a good possibility. Or I can trim this one down. I've got two here. This one, which would be no issue for me because I've got it pre-prepped to cut it down at this point here. I see no reason why we can't do that on both of these. Okay, we're going to take two cards we've already got. Even though they got fancy corners, they can be recut in. That's not a problem. We need to cut it down about this wide right here. Okay. Lay it on our board. Get it straight. And there again, you see, I saved myself a little bit of time by pre-prepping. Even though I'm not using this card exactly as it was because it was pre-prepped. Now, this can be the top of something, a tag or something. You can use this, so don't throw that strip away. Then, the only problem I have at this point is to go in and match up this corner design, which if you use your same corners over and over, you shouldn't have a problem doing that. Mine is this, as you see, it's up the wings. So we're going to go back in and we're going to clip the wings back in on your tag. Yeah, there you go. So now you've made your journal card. Let's see if we're talking about depth here, how we're doing. Again, my pocket is really tight. I'm going to go in gently with my ruler and try to open it up a little. Just kind of stretch the fabric, just the paper just a little. Got to stretch it here and here. And while we're doing it, let's go ahead and do the other pocket. Stretch it here and here. Okay, so I've opened it up. And let's slide our little card in and see what we've got. We may have to cut the top off. But don't panic. That's a possibility. Yep, it's too tall because it's not going deep in the pocket like that. So we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to come in. We're going to lay it here. No panic whatsoever. We're going to cut it. Make sure it's aligned straight and cut. Again, using your same corner that you had before. Cut it off again. Okay, there you go. So you got it here and here. Now you can put a pull tab on it if you wish. Not a problem. Okay, so that fits perfectly. Okay, so let's go in and make sure that we tone this down a little again and do this. Excuse me just a minute, please. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please excuse the background noise. As I said, my husband has come in, but it's all right. Like I said, it's what goes on here. All right, let's cut the second one down. I think I want to cut more off this side, so I'm going to flip it upside down because I'm going to cut more off this top. Come into here. You know what? Let's do it this way. Let me see if this one fits, and we'll just measure it according to that one. Yeah, that fits. So let's just measure it. Oh, we got a little spot there that needs some extra glue. That's because I cut it, and it wasn't glued real well. Okay, let's measure this one according to this one. That'll be a whole lot simpler technique. Save you a little bit more time. Right here. Must be getting on. Well, it's not lunchtime because it's only 10:30 here. I guess the hubby just can't handle that hot weather out there. We are close to 70 years old, and both of us. The heat is not our best friend. And neither, unfortunately, neither is the cold. Cold weather is not our best friend either. So we just have to suffer through it because we can't afford to move to California or Florida. So, a matter of fact, I'm not going to say afford. We probably can afford to do anything we set our mind to. But I have no desire to live in California. What I've seen come out of California, no wish to live there. And Florida, just too many people. Of course, I think the humidity is bad in Florida, and I think it's the humidity that bothers me the most. So I don't know that there's any perfect, well, there is a perfect place, and we're going to go there one day. But right now, I'm just going to have to suffer through the changing weather. Now, I love spring and fall. Both of those weathers are perfect for us. We get so much accomplished. All right, so we've got that. We've got the same punch here, but we've got this one here. So we got to make sure that we're using the right punch. And guys, guess what? We are almost done. I know I've had to cut the video off 2 or 3 times and jump and run. Please forgive me for all that, but we are nearly done. There's our next tag, ready to go. We're going to anchor up and there it is. Slide it in. Oh, yeah. Okay, it's going to stick up a little. Do we care? Yes, we do. Plenty of white space there, so we're going to make this one a little smaller. I forgot about the gap here of height. So let's cut it off just a little bit, and we'll do one. We'll pop them edges in one more time. This is the beauty of crafting. I'm going to save that little thing. Believe it or not, it might make something. I had to take me a little swallow of my drink. I'm like my hubby. It is getting hot. So that's why he's in here hiding, because I have air conditioning in here. Okay, cut them corners again, and I'm going to ink them one more time. And this should finish our project up for today. And now we have our next window pocket for our journal. And voila, there we are, guys. What do you think? It's pretty, isn't it? Just simple. Took us maybe 40 minutes to do this from start to finish, maybe 45. If I hadn't had to stop too many times. But there it is. We are done with our pocket flip. Okay, we're going to work on the final step of this video. I'm not even sure how long it's going to be, but we're going to have to spice together the start and stopping I've had to do. We're going to decorate the front. We've got the inside done, as you saw a while ago. I don't think I'm going to do anything else in this. I really want to keep it as flat as possible. This is our back to glue, so we don't do anything to it. So let's close the front and let's decorate our front. Let's find us something pretty over here in our little, I call it my little rat nest, y'all. But it's really my stash nest. I should call it my stash nest. Now, these cute little things right here. Bless my son-in-law's heart, Brian. He's my jewel. He's just my jewel. He's so good to my daughter and my grandgirls. But he found this in a yard sale, so I'm going to take a peek at the ones he bought me and see if there's something here we might want to use to decorate this journal. It's kind of stuck together because it's probably been in somebody's stash a long time. But I really like this. It's almost the same color that we're dealing with. Oh, that is so pretty. I really like that, and I think I like that. Let me look at the other 3 or 4 boxes and see. I think they're all the same. Well, not almost the same. Not quite. That's a silver. But I like this rose color. This is almost a rose. It's not really a gold. It's a rose. And this is what I'm going to go with. So I'll grab it and go with it. So I'm going to slice me off a couple of pieces of this. And that's what we're going to start with in our decorating. I've got to go find my better scissors. Oh, it is getting so warm here. Goodness. We've stopped long enough to go fix a meal. We grilled some hamburgers out. It was really good. My daughter came over with some steak for her husband because he goes to work. My son-in-law works night shift, so she's fixing him his lunch and made him some steaks, and we just cooked together. Sometimes we do that a lot. You know, that's something a lot of families this day and time are really missing is cooking together and doing together. It was a really nice little hour and 15 minutes. That's a little break we've had. So, but we're back to work for the rest of this afternoon. Going to go ahead and glue these two pieces down. Just make a kind of a wide swirly. And of course, I'm using Fabri-Tac again because I'm gluing down fabric to paper. That's just my technique. You'll develop your own. This is going to be a little messier because it's such an open weave on this lace, but that's okay. I'm going to just lightly press it. I'm not going to do anything heavy pressing on it, just enough to make sure that it's down good, and let that start drying. Oh, that is so lovely. We'll trim off the excess and all, and that's had a few minutes to dry. I love that. I love it, love it. Now, what I would like is just something. I love my oval window. This is the first one I've ever done in a shape besides square, and I really see I'm going to love it. So I'm probably going to do some heart shapes and things like that for the rest of this book. So get prepared. That's what we're going to do. But what I think I want some kind of design that will overhang on the edge here without taking away from the initial. I don't want it on this side. It would have to come on this back side. Something that'll just kind of hang over slightly, even if it's something that kind of goes over some of the lace too. If we colored that up, that's pretty. I may come back. Now, I did fussy cut these, and as you see, I've left a little bit of edging, which sometimes I like edging, sometimes I don't. In this circumstance, I don't want as much edging across the two designs. But I do kind of like that spray. Matter of fact, I really like that spray better off this end. I was going to put it at an angle, but I believe I really like it right there. I think that dresses up. We're going to look at just a few more seconds and see what else we can find. But I believe that's the one I'm going to want. And the color variance is too much on that piece. Yeah, I really like that. Or do we want to go with one that's got a quote on it that says, at Gnome in the Garden? No, that's the one I want. Now, you see, that's just a matter of, yeah, that's the one I want. It's not a lot. It's not a lot of extra additive to that. It really doesn't take away from any of the other flower designs on here, not in my opinion anyway. And again, that's what I say. I use my artistic eye for what I like. And that's really who you craft for. It's for yourself. So keep that in mind. I know you get ideas and all from other people, but you craft for yourself and your own enjoyment. Don't ever lose that. If you ever lose that, if it gets to be, if your crafting becomes stressful, that's when it's time to stop, regroup, start over. I have had that happen to me, and never again. I craft for my enjoyment and my relaxation. I love this. This is going to be a pretty addition, and gotta find my glue. Okay, and it doesn't matter if this actually does glue on the window, because this is exactly what it's for. We just want a little bit of an overhang on that. Oh, this is so lovely to me. But this is the final piece to our video today, and the final bit to getting our design together. Now, it lacks one more thing, and I know you're going to think I'm crazy, but it does lack a butterfly. It's got to have a butterfly on it. And because it's such a much larger design, I can go with a larger butterfly. I don't know how deep I want him. Oh, he's pretty. I like him better down at this bottom edge coming up. There's my butterfly. Okay, so that is going to be my finished look. I am going to cover the edges, and I'm really, if you notice, I'm really just tapping the outside edge. I'm not really going inside the design with this. And because this is not going to actually be on the paper, I'm not going to try I usually draw my own antennae on my butterflies. I'm good. If I try it and it messes up, I'll be sick. But I might try it and see if we can do it without it smearing. I have really prominent. That doesn't have a cap, so this is acrylic. This is my acrylic fine point. So I'm going to try it, guys. I'm going to glue it. I mean, this is what I do a lot during the day as I experiment. And if I mess up, I just mess up, and I'll find a way to cover up what I mess up. Somehow I manage to do that most of the time. But I'm going to put it here. And then on the final step, I am going to draw some antennae right directly onto my acetate. If it'll draw. And it did. It's very light. Hardly bearing down with it. That's acrylic paint, so it should stay. And there is my finished design. You can't really see the antennae right now. Can't make it show. But anyway, that's our finished state. I'm going to let that dry. I'm going to trim off these edges before we go, so you can get a finished look at what it looks like. Cut that off. I'm trying not to touch my acetate because that acrylic ink's got to have time to dry. That was a rounded corner, so I had to kind of round that out. And I may, at the end, have to go and actually put a little bit of glue on these frayed edges. But for right now, for the purpose of the video, we're just going to layer down, let you see her one more time. And there is the finished front of that pocket flip. This is a window pocket flip. That's what the name of the video will be. So if you want to watch it again, or if you want to, I would love for you to share my videos. Share it with friends, and if you're in groups, share it with groups. I have a goal of 1,000 subscribers by the holiday season's kicking in, maybe end of November. I really have a goal of 1,000, and any help you guys can give me to get me 1,000 on my YouTube, I would really greatly appreciate it. But if not, we'll just keep plugging along till we get there. This is NanaKaye, finally, truly signing off for this particular tutorial. I hope you've enjoyed making this window pocket flip with me to go into our future dreams signature. Don't know where we're going to put it, but it's going to go in this one because there's already something similar in this one. So we're going to put it in this signature. When I get it in, I will show you what it looks like in the page when we start off on our next video. Have a great day. NanaKaye Designs and the Altered Book Nook signing off. Bye-bye.